Welcome to the Limitless Energy podcast here in beautiful Annapolis, Maryland for the Annapolis Sailboat Show. And it is my pleasure to welcome Colin from Parlay Revival.
Cheers for having me, man.
Thanks for being here. So Parlay Revival is a pretty popular YouTube sailing channel.
I guess so, yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, a couple of people are watching.
There's a couple people, a couple people are interested, and I think you put a lot of interesting content out there. And how long have you had this channel?
Started it about 7 years ago now, maybe 6.5 years ago. It's a hurricane-damaged Lagoon 450 catamaran, so it required a ton of work to just get it floating again. But we did a whole bunch of fiberglass work, and in the hurricane, it sank on the port side, so I have to redo all the electronics and everything in that hull.
Where was it?
It was in Tortola in the VVIs.
Okay.
And rebuilt the engine and everything like that. One side was dry and one side was wet, but as you know, like, boats have so much wiring that it was just an absolute nightmare I wanted to redo all of the wiring.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily the battery bank was on the starboard side, still is, but that didn't last me very long. They were lead acid and 800 amp hours, so only roughly 400 usable. And then we changed to the Battleborns at 1,000 amp hours of lithium, and it was honestly life-changing. And I'm not just saying that. It was such a big improvement for us to have that much battery capacity. And being a YouTube channel, we're charging phones and cameras and computers the whole time, so we're really power hungry. So 1,000 amp hours has been pretty good, but now we've beefed up the production. We've got bigger cameras, bigger laptops and everything. So I think we're ready for the next upgrade, which would be a bit more lithium, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
But so 6 to 7 years ago, this is pretty early. This is pre-COVID. It's in terms of the world of YouTube sailing channels. You guys are pretty early, right?
We're kind of early. I was inspired by Sailing Le Vagabond. One of their episodes popped up on YouTube, and it was, I guess, one of their very first ones. And they had no idea what they were doing and sailing around the world. And they explained what Patreon was in one of their videos. And I was like, well, this is a feasible lifestyle if you are interesting enough. And luckily our story was interesting enough because of the hurricane damaged boat. No one had really done that, and now there's a few channels that are doing hurricane damage stuff. But yeah, it's been a roller coaster. The first year was just no subscribers, no followers, no nothing. It was just a labor of love, just sort of hoping that the idea would take off.
Was your thinking that it had to take off by a certain amount of time or you couldn't sustain it?
So I'm a chief engineer on superyachts, so I always had that safety net. So if the YouTube wasn't generating enough money and I had to go back to work, I can fairly quickly earn enough money in like 2 or 3 months to last another 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
And then a television show called Below Deck picked me up from the YouTube channel, and I ended up doing 3 seasons of that TV show, which helped get us through. So, yeah.
Did that appearance help your channel? People started recognizing?
I mean, the show's got a pretty scandalous reputation. It's a reality TV show about, working on a super yacht. So I was reluctant to do it, but I spoke to a friend of mine who had done a season previously, and he said, you're crazy if you don't do it because it's such good exposure for whatever you want. And so I went on there. I was wearing Parlay Revival t-shirts and hats and stuff to the point where the producers were getting really annoyed with me. Because you're going to these 5-star restaurants and everything, and I'm dressed like this. So, I was there for a cause, and it helped a lot. Yeah.
Why was it scandalous?
It's based around drama. So it's who's sleeping with who and who's fighting with who. You can be, the greatest yachty in the world, but that's boring. So it's the scandals that they like.
Got it. Did you get into any scandals?
What's that?
Did you get into any scandals?
I had like a flawless 2 seasons were flawless.
Okay.
I had girlfriends at the time. I stayed out of all of the stuff. And then I went back for my 3rd season, and I was single, and I I got involved a little bit.
A little bit of scandal in the third season. Okay, well, at least you got it. It launched you into the Parlay Revival channel.
Yeah.
And was this what happened as you launched this channel and then the pandemic hit globally? How did that affect things?
Yeah, that was crazy.
That increase your viewership?
Absolutely, yeah. We were just watching the subscribers just grow and grow at that point. We were in Panama, about to cross the Pacific, and that all got put on hold when we found broken bulkheads in the boat, which brought us back to the shipyard for another year and a half. But yeah, COVID was interesting for us because that's when we had our biggest growth. It was my first season of Below Deck. We had just discovered the bulkhead issue, which people found quite fascinating, I think. And and the pandemic was meaning people were watching more YouTube, I think.
And how, since then, since the channel grew, how has your content changed?
We've just gotten better and better. My girlfriend Britt does most of the editing now, and she's been with us for nearly 2 years, and her editing is just phenomenal right now. She's just got so good. We've come up with our own sort of style of voiceovers and editing and stuff. I think and we've got better cameras and everything now as well. We're not just running around with a handy cam. So, at the start it was GoPros and handy cams, and now it's, pretty nice drones and Sonys, and the production has gone up a fair bit, I think.
Yeah, it's a great channel, by the way. But what do you like to do? Is it more the technical stuff, or do you just like going to cool places and showing off where you are?
Nah, so as an engineer, I love fixing things. honestly love it. I love repairing things. I like building things. And with a boat, as you know, there's always something to work on. So our channel is quite heavily revolves around boat work, and we try to show all of the trials and tribulations together. Try to keep it interesting, because people started watching us because we were working on the boat, basically. So we want to keep them interested still by showing them all the jobs that we're doing. Having the lithium wasn't very good in that perspective, because we installed it and haven't had to touch
problems.
it. I mean, if it failed every now and then, we'd have more content. But
now you can put more drama on your.
I know. We need more scandals. Yeah.
So where is the boat now?
We're in Papua New Guinea, of all places. It's just above Australia. I mean, this is a place where cannibalism was still rife not very long ago. We don't exactly feel safe the entire time that we're there. We've got 2 dogs, which have been a saving grace, because one's a pit bull, and no one really wants to come near the boat. But it's pretty wild down there. But also nothing that other cruisers aren't doing at the moment. It's just much more uncommon. So we did Vanuatu, Solomon Islands, and then Papua New Guinea. And next is going to be the Indonesia, and then the Philippines. So getting through some countries that you wouldn't normally sail to, I feel like. Most people would go to Australia at the point where we're at, but we're skipping Australia altogether and doing some more remote stuff. So
how do you decide where to go? Do you have sort of an idea of what stories you want to tell, or you're just like, you want to be off the beaten path?
Yeah, we're just literally going with the wind and getting a lot of information from other cruisers that we meet. So I think the best, most reliable source of information from people who are out there doing it right now, because you can jump on the internet and read things about Papua New Guinea and Solomon Islands and that, and just be scared to death and never go. But we've got a big enough network of friends and stuff now that you can get be pretty informed about where you want to go, and informed about where you don't want to go. So we think for this year, getting up to the Philippines is well worthwhile. And then it's been a lifelong dream of mine to go surfing in Indonesia. It's got the best waves in the world. So we're going to go back down from the Philippines and do that whole Indonesian coast. The Mentawai Islands in particular are a world famous surf destination, and to be there on my own boat I'm gonna be in heaven.
Does Brett surf too?
Yep. She does, and Jamie does every now and then, but he does more sunbathing than surfing these days.
So I'm curious, when you say the community that you have, other people that you learn from, are they just sailors, or are they YouTubers that sail?
Yeah, I was mainly referring to just sailors. Like
Okay.
we just consider ourselves just one of the community out there. Where we are, there aren't too many other YouTube channels anyway. So yeah, it's honestly just meeting other sailors and being part of that community. And yeah, it's amazing the amount of information you can get from a barbecue on the beach with a bunch of sailors. So that's our yeah, I'd say that's our main source of information. Is
Do they tend to know you though? At least from
I would say so. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. More often than not. Yeah, it's a strange feeling to have people sort of know who you are, and you sort of get used to it, but you sort of don't. And being here at the boat show is the craziest time for us because a lot of these people here do watch YouTube channels, sailing channels. So this would be where we are most recognized ever is the Annapolis Boat Show. Like I was late to this. It's hard to get from A to B when people do recognize you, and you want to be humble and you want to talk to everyone. You want to have a conversation, but sometimes you just do feel a little bit rude when you're like, I've got to go. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
You don't want to brush anyone off. You know, it's not polite. But yeah, it's a very interesting experience being at the show.
Well, thanks for taking the time to stop by here. I know you're very busy here, so thanks for being on the podcast.
No worries, man. Thanks for everything you've done for us.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
Colin, Parlay Revival. Thanks for tuning in to the Limitless Energy podcast. Be sure to subscribe on any of your favorite podcast platforms.